Hello everyone, my name is Hank Sutherland.
And I'm Sean Edward Phillips.
And we're here with an installment of Conversations with Consciousness. And one quick moment, I just got to do a quick, make sure this is made public on my feed. So if people want to comment, they can see the comments. But John was just correcting me, saying it's supposed to be Conversations with God, but I actually renamed the group Conversations with Consciousness to give ourselves a little bit more permission to go off the book if we want to. And also the group, if you are a member of the Conversations with Consciousness group, is free Power Possibilities to that, Conversation with God, Stir Crazy Shamans, and all the stuff like that. So it's kind of like a cool group where you get all the content that is coming out from the AKK affiliates.
Yeah. How's it getting better?
Yeah, and we're actually in person. In fact, if you'd like, if you're local to North Olmsted, you're welcome to join us at the Holistic Health Healing Center virtually this spring. And let me finish doing this before I forget.
Because it's Facebook, man. You ever talk to the Facebook entity? It's very interesting.
I think I'm just going to do it from my phone. It's going to be a little bit faster. But welcome. And if anybody has any questions, basically this is an open forum. I'll bring up any topic, and Sean and I speak to it from the lens of conversation with God. And then for next month already, I'm going to give everybody the task and actually have people messaging me asking about conversations that book 4 with the species. I have not read it yet myself, so I cannot.
We could read it.
Yeah, we could.
We could read it and then have a book club or something.
We can have a book club. We just won't stream that live to YouTube because we get shut down for copyright.
Yeah, let's not have copyright infringement.
So we don't want to do that. But
you don't want copyright infringement. I can tell you that.
Yep. Welcome, Mike. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, Mike.
And
greetings.
It's just going to be a moment. I'm making this public on my feed because otherwise we want some comments come through. But for those of you who don't know, remember the story of Neale Donald Walsch to kind of give people an overview of the origins of the work while I fiddle with tech?
I know it fairly well. It basically is Neale was not having a great time. He was going through some difficult time in his life. He had just gotten laid off his job.
He broke his neck. He was in like a neck brace.
Oh, I didn't know that part.
Oh yeah. And he was going through a divorce, and he ended up he stole a tent out of his own garage so he'd have some place to sleep. And then he was living at a homeless park for just under a year.
So pretty rough. And then he had finally gotten
I found it. There we go.
Neale had finally gotten a job working at a local radio station, like doing janitorial work, or was it?
He was a DJ on air.
Oh, he was DJing.
Part-time DJ.
And then he came to come into work one day, and it was like, we're closed. So the station like closed after he had just spent all this time, or he had just spent a long time, not really having a home. He had gotten the DJ job, and then he moved into like a small little apartment, right? So it was like
he finally got out of
finally got somewhere, and pretty much after that he just demanded like, well, why is this happening?
Well, one little thing. He went back to the radio station, and he was finally life was looking right and up and all that. Goes to the radio station, and the door is closed. There's a sign that they went bankrupt, and he's literally unemployed again. Once again, facing having to go out on the street. And when he went home that day, he wrote a scathing letter to God. And is this the way life is really supposed to work, and all that stuff. And then he heard a voice. Are you just venting, or do you really want an answer to these questions? And that's what started into this dialogue that became the Conversations with God trilogy. And then he went on to write many, many books. Now I see my mom is watching, and she said, Hank, I can't hear you, but I can hear Sean fine. And I see there's a couple other people listening besides my mom. Mike, are you there? Can you tell me, are you hearing me okay? Or is there an issue with my?
Yeah. Well, luckily everything I've said has been great, and you haven't heard all the weird things that Hank said.
See, now we're in person. I could smack you now instead of being virtual.
Yeah, dangers of being back alive.
Yeah, but if anybody, Mike or someone else, if someone can just let us know if you can hear me okay, because I could switch microphones if I need to. Would rather find out now about a tech issue than at the end of the stream seeing no one could hear anything I say.
Yeah, that would be unfortunate.
But that would be a great lesson if you can't hear me to feel the energy behind the words, because all words do is point to an energy. And sometimes what you say and what you're actually intending with your energy could be very different type of things. Indeed.
Yeah. So all you have to do is just watch our mouths move. It'll be like one of those silent films. Except we don't have like a score.
That would be a
I'm
lot
not
of
sure
work.
how I feel about that.
No.
Maybe not. Although it would be kind of cool to see subtitles.
Well, no one else is saying. Actually, I can listen to myself. Let me check it. Testing, testing.
Yeah, that didn't.
I'm not sure how I feel about that.
No. Nope, you can hear me. Okay, so it must have been just at the very beginning of the stream. I just tuned in. I can hear you both. Excellent. Thank you,
Awesome.
Nanette.
Thanks.
Cool. So does anybody, before we just dive into the book, because if we don't have any questions, what we do is just kind of look up something in the book and read out of it, then pause and discuss. But if anybody has a particular topic or question, or
if you'd like to shout out a page number, we're happy to flip to that page.
Yeah.
This is all 3 books in one. So if you pick a number, we will go to whatever that page is.
yeah, so
and read it.
if someone either picks a number or gives us a topic, we will speak to it. And also, if you're local, come on down. Or for next month, it's going to be on the first Tuesday of every month going forward, because I have
First
a conflict. I had a conflict of dates on Thursdays, so we are moving it to the first Tuesday of every month. And you can come to the center and be here live in person, and you can interact with us in person, but we'll also still stream it.
Yeah.
Cool.
We could bring tacos next time. It could be like Taco Tuesday and conversations.
But just bring your own tacos, because we can't have a food station set up because of the
BYOT.
There we go. Bring your own
Tuesday.
Tu-
Taco.
And if you guys didn't notice, Shauna's always sporting some cool T-shirt. Today he's got baby child
Yes,
Yoda
we have
impersonator.
Baby Yoda in The Mandalorian today.
Except for those of you who are Star Wars nerds, he can't possibly be Baby Yoda because it's after Yoda dies, right?
Well, I mean, it's like the Force and stuff, so who knows? I mean, I was on Wikipedia.
There's a Wikipedia.
It might be the Star Wars fan site, and it turns out that apparently Yoda's kind has never been named by George Lucas or anybody. Yoda's kind is just called Yoda's kind. It doesn't have like a species name.
So Baby Yoda could be correct, because that is a species.
Correct. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Very cool. And well, no one's giving us a page number, so I guess we just kind of will randomly pick one. Well, why don't we? 7:57. Oh, well, that's the time when I looked at it. How long we had been streaming? So
we'll look at it, and we'll look. I don't. Is this we can go to 7:57?
Maybe.
You're off the page. That's book 4.
Well, I guess that's like, so. There's another sign we should be doing a little bit of work out of book 4. So, but not today because
we'll take that. We'll pick 700, page 500, 757.
That sounds good.
4, which will probably be like page 12.
Except I don't have book 4 yet. So why not just go to a different page?
I think there might have been some.
Oh, did someone have something?
Comments.
I guess that means I have to do our.
Okay. Well, this is the second time I've opened up to the same page, Hank. So this one seems pretty good.
Now I will bring this up because normally my parents' trash is on Tuesday, and she is coming to the awareness that I'm not doing it because I'm here. That would be correct. I apologize.
Oh dear. What an awkward way to find out. So yeah, I flipped to this page.
Okay.
It's the start of chapter 4 in book 2. How do we want to do the reading? Because what was nice when we were virtual is that we could pull up the ebook.
I could still pull up the ebook.
Well, we could still pull up the ebook. That would be fun. Yeah, let's do that.
Let's see. Cloud Reader. Okay, what page were you on?
It is page 235. It's the start of chapter 4 in book I'm not sure how the ebook is laid out. Fun things with ebooks, if you change the text size, it changes how many pages are in the book.
Oh,
Yeah.
you know, that is a conundrum, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, but no, it tells me page and location though. So I think that should be okay. What was the page again?
235.
Just skipping right over these things. Is that the correct? Does it look right?
I'm not sure. It said, boy, we really got sidetracked there.
Okay, boy, we really got sidetracked. There we go. That's it, right?
Yeah, chapter. Yeah, that looked good.
All right, so I'm going to share the screen so you guys can see this. Chrome tab, Kindle Reader. All right, make sure that this looks correct. That was for my kids earlier. If you didn't see, I had in big letters, it was like the word no because they were asking me to do something earlier. And I was like, no. Okay. That's a little bit bigger, hopefully now. Alt tab is not my friend right now. There we go.
You don't even have an alt key. Oh,
I
thought
do
it was
have
a
an alt
Mac.
key.
You do have an alt key.
Except I accidentally went off the page, so now I'm not sure what I went to. Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
All right, so are you starting or am I?
Well, who do you want to play today?
Whoever you don't want to play.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm pretty good at playing Neil.
Okay, so you play
Okay.
Neil. Go for it.
Oh, boy, we really got sidetracked there. We started out talking about time and ended up talking about organized religion.
Yes, well, that's what it's like talking with God. It's hard to keep the dialogue limited.
Let me see if I can summarize the points you make in chapter 3, previous chapter. There is no time but this time. There is no moment but this moment. Time is not a continuum. It is an aspect of relativity that exists in an up and down paradigm with moments or events stacked on top of each other, happening or occurring at the same time. We are constantly traveling between realities in this realm of time, no time, all time, usually in our sleep. Deja vu is one way we are made aware of this. There has never been a time when we were not, nor will there ever be. The concept of age as it relates to souls really has to do with levels of awareness, not length of time. There is no evil. We are perfect just the way we are. You are perfect just the way you are. Wrong is a conceptualization of the mind based in relative experience. We are making up the rules as we go along, changing them to fit our present reality, and that's perfectly all right. It's as it should be, must be, if we are to be evolving beings. Next bullet, Hitler went to heaven. Next bullet. Everything that happens is God's will. Everything. That includes not just hurricanes, tornadoes, and earthquakes, but Hitler as well. The secret of understanding is knowing the purpose behind all events. Next bullet. There are no punishments after death, and all consequences exist only in relative experience, not in the realm of the absolute. Next. Human theologies are mankind's insane attempt to explain an insane God who does not exist. Next bullet, final bullet. The only way human theologies make sense is if we accept a God who makes no sense at all. How's that? Another good summary?
Excellent.
Good, because now I've got a million questions. Statements 10 and 11, for instance, beg for further clarification. Why did Hitler go to heaven? I know you just try to explain this, but somehow I need more. And what is the purpose behind all events? And how does this larger purpose relate to Hitler and other deep despots?
Let's go to purpose first. All events, all experiences have their purpose, the creating of opportunity. Events and experiences are opportunities, nothing more, nothing less. It would be a mistake to judge them as works of the devil, punishments from God, rewards from heaven, or anything in between. They are simply events and experiences, things that happen. It is what we think of them, do about them, be in response to them that gives them meaning. Events and experiences are opportunities drawn to you, created by you individually or collectively through consciousness. Consciousness creates experience. You are attempting to raise your consciousness. You have drawn these opportunities to you in order that you might use them as tools in the creation and experiencing of who you are. Who you are is a being of higher consciousness than you are now exhibiting. Because it is my will that you should know and experience who you are, I allow you to draw to yourself whatever event or experience you choose to create in order to do that. Other players in the universal game join you from time to time, either as brief encounters, peripheral participants, temporary teammates, long-term interactors, relatives and family, dearly loved ones, or life path partners. These souls are drawn to you by you. You are drawn to them by them. It is a mutually creative experience. Experiencing the choices and desires of both. No one comes to you by accident. There is no such thing as coincidence. Nothing occurs at random. Life is not a product of chance. Events like people are drawn to you by you for your own purposes. Larger planetary experiences and developments are a result of group consciousness. They are drawn to your group as a whole as a result of the choices and desires of the group as a whole.
Shall we keep going?
Well, we should check to see if there's a comment
Or
first.
see what's up?
Yeah, no comments yet. So, but if there's anything that we're reading, if there is a comment or something you want to dive deeper on or us to elaborate on, let us know. Or is there anything you want to speak about from what we've read so far?
No, I think we can keep going. I originally had us plan to go through kind of the next section is what jumped for me. So
Okay, sounds good.
it just means a lot of reading for
That's okay.
you. So in the last section, Hank just read. They're talking about your group and that you're drawn to people in your group. So Neil asked, "What do you mean by the term your group?"
Group consciousness is something that is not widely understood, yet is extremely powerful and can, if you are not careful, often overcome individual consciousness. You must always, therefore, endeavor to create group consciousness wherever you go, and with whatever you do. If you wish your larger life experience on the planet to be harmonious. If you are in a group whose consciousness does not reflect your own, and you are unable at this time to effectively alter the group consciousness, it is wise to leave the group, or the group could lead you. It will go where it wants to go, regardless of where you want to go. If you cannot find a group whose consciousness matches your own, be the source of one. Others of like consciousness will be drawn to you. Individuals and smaller groups must affect larger groups and ultimately the largest group of all, which is all humankind, for there to be a permanent and significant change on your planet. Did you plan to read this part? Like, just with what's going on in the world today, it's like, I think Sean might have just...
It's just magic.
It is
Isn't it
magic.
cool?
No, that was
You want to
completely...
read it again?
Should I?
Why not?
Okay, from what part? The whole thing?
Well, how about just the part about collective group? Just that part about collective group. You know, the whole response. No, what's the part about individuals and smaller groups must affect larger groups?
Individuals and smaller groups must affect larger groups, and ultimately the largest group of all, which is all humanity, for there to be permanent and significant change on your planet. Your world and the condition it is in is a reflection of the total combined consciousness of everyone living there. As you can see by looking around you, much work is left to be done, unless, of course, you are satisfied with your world as it is. Surprisingly, most people are. That is why the world does not change. Most people are satisfied with a world in which differences, not similarities, are honored and disagreements are settled by conflict and war. Most people are satisfied with a world in which survival is for the fittest. Might is right. Competition is required, and winning is called the highest good. If such systems happens also to produce losers, so be it, so long as you are not among them. Most people are satisfied, even though such a model produces people who are often killed when they are judged wrong, starved and rendered homeless when they are losers, oppressed and exploited when they are not strong. Most people define wrong as that which is different from them. Religious differences in particular are not tolerated, nor are many social, economic, or cultural differences. Exploitation of the underclass is justified by the self-congratulatory pronouncements from the upper class of how much better off their victims are now than they were before these exploitations. By this measure, the upper class can ignore this issue of how all people ought to be treated if one were being truly fair, rather than merely making a horrible situation a tiny bit better and profiting obscenely in the bargain. Most people laugh when one suggests any kind of system other than the one currently in place, saying that behaviors such as competing and killing and the victor taking the spoils are what makes their civilization great. Most people even think there is no other natural way to be, that it is the natural nature of humans to behave in this manner, and that to act any other way would kill the inner spirit that drives man to succeed. No one asks the question, success at what? Difficult as it is for truly enlightened beings to understand, most people on your planet believe in this philosophy, and that is why most people don't care about the suffering masses, the oppression of minorities, the anger of the underclass, or the survival needs of anyone but themselves and their immediate families. Most people do not see that they are destroying their earth, the very planet which gives them life, because their actions seek only to enhance their quality of life. Amazingly, they are not farsighted enough to observe that the short-term gains can produce long-term losses, and often do and will. Most people are threatened by group consciousness, a concept such as the collective good, a one-world overview, or a God who exists in unity with all of creation rather than separate from it. This fear of anything leading to unification and your planet's glorification of all that separates produces division, disharmony, discord, yet you do not seem to have the ability to learn from your own experience, and so you continue your behaviors with the same results. The inability to experience the suffering of another as one's own is what allows such suffering to continue. Separation breeds indifference, false superiorities. Unity produces compassion and genuine equality. The events which occur on your planet, which have occurred regularly for 3,000 years, are, as I have said, a reflection of the collective consciousness of your group, the whole group on your planet. That level of consciousness could be described as primitive.
All right then. Well, wasn't that a strikingly relevant topic? Wow.
Oh man, that's a great random poll. No, truly, that is just the number he picked.
Yeah. Well, no, I opened to that page earlier, and then I opened to it again, and I completely closed the book. So it's pretty spot on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It might as well have been written today.
Yeah. In case you were wondering if this is still relevant now, yes.
So anybody have any questions or comments that could prompt us to take a deeper dive into any of these things? Or it's kind of speaks pretty well on its own. But if there's
Really did.
if there's anything in particular, I mean, that was really just the most ideal thing Sean could have picked.
Yeah. How's it getting any better?
What else is
Pretty
possible? And also feels really light after our last Power of Possibility stream. Like that, if we had that would have been a great thing to go through and read.
That's a lot of 10 seconds ago, Hank. Wait.
That is okay. Yeah.
Oh, I remember now. I recall.
Oh,
Yeah, that would have been a nice section to have.
it would have been.
Although it wasn't quite as relevant because a couple weeks ago, we didn't quite have the protesting that's going on that is
True.
right now. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Cool.
But just that whole section about exploitation of the underclass is justified by the self-congratulatory self-congratulatory pronouncements from the upper class of how much better off their victims are now than they were before these exploitations. And that's so much of what is going on in the States right now. Yes. In case we have any international viewers.
Yeah, I think everybody can hop on board with that.
Yeah. Yeah. What else is possible?
And what would it take? I mean, I feel that the one thing I would want to expand on is how it says that, who do you surround yourself with? And if there's no group in where you're at that holds the energy that you want to hold to start one and to start to be that energy and other people who share that view, you come together. And as you build those little groups, it has the potential to affect a larger and larger part of the collective consciousness. And they call it the Maharishi effect. It was like the 100th monkey thing, where if a certain percentage of the consciousness can reach a certain awareness, that awareness can jump to the rest of the species. So with what's going on the planet right now and everybody's focus all on one particular thing, this is our chance to really step into what could you allow yourself to be aware of today that, if you were to allow it, could change everything in your reality overnight with ease. Why couldn't it be with ease, right?
Why wouldn't? Why
Yeah.
not?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, all of life comes to with ease, joy, and glory, as they say in Access.
Yeah, I would try to pan the camera to it, but I think I would screw up the cables, so
That's
I'll
a lot
skip
of,
it.
yeah, that'd be a pretty good one. Maybe we'll film that next time.
Yeah, we were kind of we thought we were going to use the TV, and then we had to switch at the last second.
Yeah, somebody was not technically prepared.
Somebody was supposed to bring an extra laptop, and they didn't. But that's okay.
We're making do. We're having fun.
We are having fun.
Yeah. I'm just enjoying the energy of that section. That just really, really lit things up. And especially talking about, being the change you'd like to see
Yes.
in the world. Kind of Mahatma Gandhi like, be the change you'd like to see. And that even includes, or is particularly important if you're not seeing the things you'd like to have out there, to be the one person maybe who chooses it, and that can spark all kinds of stuff because people are drawn to that.
Something that Ryan, who's one of the partners here at HHH, had said yesterday when I got to talk to him briefly, is being anti-anything is a space of polarization. So instead of being anti-anything and butting heads with people, be pro-harmony, be pro-peace. And that when you're doing something like that, instead of adding energy to the brute force opposition to things, you can create a space where maybe there's a different possibility for everyone involved. So be pro-peace, be pro-harmony would be another takeaway that I would want to give you from this section. Anybody have any questions or comments? We can dive down many different rabbit holes if people make comments. And I see people are watching, so.
Hi, people that are watching. Hi, people that are watching in the future. How are you?
Yeah.
How do you be?
Got a couple people in the group, a couple people on YouTube, Facebook page. Power Possibilities is the only page that doesn't have anybody watching. That's okay, though.
So lame. Gotta pick it up. We gotta ask it. What's going on, POP page?
And while we mentioned that, on the second Tuesday of every month, Sean and I do a Power Possibilities stream where it's a little bit more Access Consciousness focused. So if you want to join us for next Tuesday, it will be a whole different set of tools and things that we talk about. There's a lot of overlap because it's a lot of the same things, just used with more contemporary language. But it's you never know, like, how something is said might be the way that you need to hear it that's going to allow for a shift to happen in your world. So, however many different ways you can get the same message, it's about the energy behind the words and what the words are pointing to.
Yeah, I finally had an aha moment with that, where it's like everybody took English class or history or maths. I was going to jump right to math, but everybody always uses that example. So everyone took a science class, and sometimes you had a good teacher. You really understood them. You really got it when they explained it. And then somebody else, a different teacher, explains the same idea, and it's like, just don't get it. So, yeah, how many different ways can we offer up
Absolutely.
including Conversations with God, Power of Possibilities, whatever else, shaman stuff,
Shaman stuff. Yes, shaman stuff. That's one of my favorites. Sound stuff.
sound stuff, Star Wars stuff.
Yeah, and if you're not sure what is going to create the greatest possibility for you, one of the tools that we have all the way back in shamanism is Huchet and Sami, which means heavy and light. We have the same thing in Access where you can ask, is picking up this book from Deepak Chopra or from Neil Donald Walsh or Gary Douglas, if I read this book, is that what's going to create the greatest possibility in my life? And you just kind of get this binary dialogue of how, after reading this book, it's going to make you feel, and start choosing what feels light. Yeah. And then it will continue to create more lightness in your life.
And it's more like an awareness of like, oh yeah, that sounds good, or like, yeah, that sounds like it'll work out really nice. It's like, choose it then. If you kind of go, it doesn't sound so great, that's your awareness. That's you following energy and going, that doesn't sound so fun right now. I'm going to maybe leave that for later. Yeah. Or I'll come back to it.
But the one thing that hardly ever creates anything is if you choose nothing. So choose something and choose, as you choose things, choose what's light, and it's going to just keep building and building. And before you know it, your whole reality can shift.
Well, that's if you really, it's also like, what are you looking to, are you really looking to change? So if you choose to do nothing, you're kind of choosing for things to be stagnant or more or less how they are currently, which isn't like, oh my God, terrible, awful, terrible, like that's horrible. But, you got to look at it. If you're really looking to change something, then you kind of do need to choose something that's a little more dynamic than doing nothing. It's like, Hank, you always give the thing, it's like in the fortune readings, or it's like, do you see a new job for me?
Oh, yes.
And Hank's always like takes this pragmatic approach. It's like, well, have you filled out a resume? Have you applied for any jobs? And it's like, if you haven't done that, it's probably not gonna come for you, or it's probably not in the cards per se, because you're not really engaged with with the thing.
Well, I used the example on Stir Crazy Shamans the other day that when you put something out to the universe, like, hey, universe, I'd like a new job. If you think of yourself like in a rowboat and you're on the sea of creation, right? And you put that out to the universe, but you're not doing your part, you're not rowing, and the universe is the only thing rowing, all you do is you go in a circle. It makes it much harder for the universe to deliver. But when you start working with the universe and you're rowing too, you start having an amazing direction. And once you have that momentum, if you make a different choice, you're already moving. It's much easier to move that into a different direction than if you never chose anything and you're coming from a point of stillness.
Just start choosing and just start creating.
There you go. How does it get any easier than that?
I'm not sure. How does it get any easier than that? How does it get any better than that?
Yeah. But if you have any questions, or if you have another page number, someone can throw out a page number and we can jump to that part in the book and we can read another section and see what other magic might come up. Give it a minute or two.
Yeah, so what's going on for everybody today? What is happening in your world?
And also on a side note, the center, since it is reopened now, we are having the Bars Clinic on Thursday. If you're watching this on the replay, once a month we have a clinic at our center in North Olmsted. Now all the practitioners will be wearing masks. We will only allow 5 clients in the space at a time, and there's a scheduler on the website, so you could go to hhh.life and go under events to the Bars Clinic, and you can schedule a time. And then there's like a 15-minute window to let the room turn. So we're being very mindful of not having more than 10 total people in the space at a time to follow all the rules and everything.
Yeah, so if you'd like to check out the bars, I'll be there. You can get your bars run by me. It'll be way better than anybody else's session.
Right.
Unless, it feels like to choose somebody else and then do that.
Yeah, well, you can't really, it's just like a blind scheduler. You don't get a guarantee of who you get to work with. So you might get Sean, you might get Ryan, you might get Hank, but if you're the first one in, you probably can pick.
Yeah. So sign up. We'd love to see you.
Yeah, and there's no cost for that. You can make a donation if you like, but it's completely a service that we provide to the community. So you can just come in, get your bars run, and see if that might facilitate change in your life. I know that the first time I ever had my bars run, I woke up like drooling on myself, and I'm like, I don't know what that was, but I gotta learn it. So it's very potent. Cool. Well, we are not. Oh, my mom said page 313. I thought she was telling me before to go to, like, that was the page you were going to, but 313, or did we already jump to that one?
We have not read 313.
Yep. So, yep, 313.
That's a palindrome.
It's what?
It's a palindrome.
What is?
313.
Oh, is that one then it reads the same both ways?
Same backwards and forwards.
And she might have picked that because it's like my birthday, 313.
March 13.
March 13th. Allegedly. But, oh, I'm supposed to go to. But once you get it there, then I'll just type in the words and it'll be easier for me to find it.
How can we eliminate more of the pain?
Okay. And is this Neil? It doesn't give me the black and blue here.
So Neil starts off that piece, and this is the very end of chapter 10 of book 2. So page 313 starts with a question from Neil, as many of the sections do. How can we eliminate more of the pain, more of the suffering?
By eliminating all separations between you, by constructing a new model of the world, by holding it within the framework of a new idea.
Which
is going to be a radical departure from the present worldview. Presently, you see the world, we're speaking geopolitically now, as a collection of nation states, each sovereign, separate, and independent of each other. The internal problems of these independent nation states are, by and large, not considered the problems of the group as a whole, unless and until they affect the group as a whole, or the most powerful members of that group. The group as a whole reacts to the conditions and problems of individual states based on the vested interests of the larger group. If no one in the larger group has anything to lose, conditions in the individual state could go to hell and no one would much care. Thousands can starve to death each year, hundreds can die in civil war, despots can pillage the countryside, dictators and their armed thugs can rape, plunder, and murder, regimes can strip the people of basic human rights, and the rest of you will do nothing. It is, you say, as an internal problem. But when your interests are threatened there, when your investments, your security, your quality of life is on the line, you rally your nation, and you try to rally your world behind you and rush in where angels fear to tread. You then tell the big lie, claiming that you are doing what you are doing for the humanitarian reasons, to help the oppressed people of the world, when the truth is, you are simply protecting your own interests. The proof of this is that where you do not have interests, you do not have concern. The world's political machinery operates on self-interest. What else is new? Oh wait, that was Neil's part, probably. Was that?
That's all right. It was Neil's part.
Oops.
You want to read it again, and I'll read the response.
Which part was?
The world's political.
The world's political machinery. That's that.
Yeah, that's Neil.
Okay, so I'll go back and read the. The proof of this is where you do not have interests, you do not have concern.
The world's political machinery operates on self-interest. What else is new?
Something will have to be new if you wish your world to change. You must begin to see someone else's interests as your own. This will happen only when you reconstruct your global reality and govern yourselves accordingly.
Are you talking about a one world government?
I am. Dun, dun, dun.
Boom! End of chapter. One world government. There we go.
Is it okay to play with clay if you order? I'm not sure what that is referring to. Is it okay to still play with clay if you order? Brad Wolf, I'm not sure what that's referring to. We appreciate your contribution.
Yes, we do.
Oh, and Mike is saying Magic Mike will be there. Mike is coming to the bars. Oh, there's another one. My dog sometimes drops some. That's interesting.
Dog sometimes drops what?
Well, the whole thing for Brad Wolf is it okay to still play with clay if you order? My dog sometimes drops some. I'm not sure what that means.
I'm not sure. If you're talking about playing with your dog's poop, I suppose that is okay. However, that's a choice that you have, or to not.
Yeah, and if that is what he's talking about, I believe we got ourselves a troll. But that's cool. We still
Yeah.
honor any contribution because the energy can be still used for other things. How does it get any better than that?
Yeah. How does it get any better? So pretty cool section there from God and response to Neil.
Is that from the book two?
Yeah, it's book 2.
Yeah.
It's into chapter 10.
And for those of you who are new to Neil's work, the original trilogy, the first book, book one, talked about personal truths, and the second book talked about world truths, and the third book talked about kind of universal truths. And for years he thought he was done, and then all of a sudden he woke up. I forget if it was in the middle of the night, but he had the conversation started again that there is now book 4, which I have yet to read, but we will be reading it for next month. It's called Awaken the Species, and it's about humanity stepping into the role of being a highly evolved being.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the time, the shift that we're in now, where people really have the choice or the opportunity to choose something grander and greater than they've ever chosen
Change
before.
is coming.
Change is here.
And if you hang out around Access Consciousness, they see a lot of the similar stuff too. So very cool that Neil's coming out with another book, and then some of the Access stuff talks about the change in the species to a evolving.
Was that in Beings of Light?
They just talk about it. Some of the specialty classes, and I think more in CO Choice of Possibilities class and stuff. They start to get into it more.
Because I know Shannon came out with a new book called Beings of Light, and she talks about all kinds of cool stuff.
Does she? I haven't actually read that book or read it, so maybe I'll
bought it.
Maybe I'll pick it up.
I'm going through it now, and then it comes with different exercises in each section. So there's like audio things to go along with it. So it's a pretty cool thing.
We're talking about a work by Shannon O'Hara. She's a Access Consciousness facilitator, and then she started the specialty group Talk to the Entities. So she's a lot of gifts, working, receiving, playing with different entities. So.
Yep. And her most recent book is all about talking with beings of light and being able to receive from them and help ask for their contribution to help create more in your life. So pretty cool stuff. I bet you book 4 is going to talk about that kind of stuff too. I'm guessing. I haven't read it yet, but we'll find out.
It might.
Anybody have another page number or questions or comments besides Clay?
Yeah. Interesting ideas.
Yeah, my mom is saying very interesting. She thinks she wants to read the books more and explore more. And if you are, I think you got the Nook, but I have what I'm using, the Kindle Cloud Reader. I bought the trilogy digitally, and I can just read it and jump. The nice thing is you can put in anything you want to look for, and it just jumps everywhere in the book where it talks about it. So it's really great as you have things coming up. One, there's an index, but beyond that, being able to search the entire book is really useful when you're looking for certain themes of information.
Yeah. Well, I thought it was cool where I jumped to in my head with this section because it's talking about nation states and how often, like, within an individual nation state, so a nation state would be like the United States of America. That's a nation state. Or France, or Germany, or China, or you get the idea. What we call countries, they're nation states. Just the idea that it is pretty true though, because when we look at something that's happening in France or Belgium or something or China, we go, oh, that's a European problem or that's a Chinese problem. It's like we don't look. It's like China, they have problems like overpopulation, right? They have too many people. It's like we look at it like that's not our problem, and then it's like what Neil's saying, what God is saying to Neil is like, well, all the problems happening for everybody in all these different nation states are truly a problem, I guess, of oneness, of wholeness,
Yeah. If
that
we're
it
all one, then
makes
it's all a
difference,
problem.
Yeah, in the collective consciousness. So pretty interesting food for thought. With anytime you read something on the news about a different country, maybe just go, huh, I wonder what it would be like if I were taking action to change whatever's happening here instead of just rubbing it off as that's
Right.
somebody else's or that country's problem.
And if we really were thinking that a year ago, now with COVID-19, it's been really one of the things that is a bless in the mess is that it has shown the world how interconnected we are. This virus is everywhere in all countries, and it really shows like how
That's
connected
how
we
we
are.
all found out.
So-
How did we find out that we were connected as a species?
COVID-19.
We got coronavirus.
Yeah.
Oh, wouldn't that be fun to look back and laugh?
No, but with coronavirus, I believe that there's a blessing in the mess with that too. I don't think I have it on this one. I do. Here, I'm going to put up my overlay, my favorite little overlay. That what if COVID is the Earth's way of making us stop for a moment to create opportunities by intuiting divinity. So we had this big pause where everybody was at home, just you, yourself, and your soul. What would it take, or what opportunity is that to really dive in and get in tune with that still small voice within, and then to start creating in the world, tapped into that oneness, tapped into that divinity? What could we create if we were all doing that? And we got Shakam. Rishi's Institute Beings of Light. I don't remember that, Mike. Rishi's Institute is a metaphysical school that's on the east side of Cleveland and Euclid, but I'm not. I only studied there for about a year, Mike. You were there for 30, so you probably went far deeper than I did. But since you brought that up, there is a great, and this is kind of in line with what I was just talking about being centered. They have this credo that they would say at the beginning of each class, and I use it to this day anytime I go to sit to meditate, and sometimes with clients, depending on the scenario. But the prayer is, "It is my desire to sit calmly upon the throne in the temple of my own body, between the two great pillars of positive and negative vibration, balancing them to the point where I can radiate through my temple of light to all whom I contact the wonderful peace, poise, power, wisdom, love, and harmony of God." So it's a great thing to say before you are looking to do meditation, yoga, when you get up to start your day. Like if you really could be in that energy with everything that you did, what world would you create?
Yeah. My paraphrasing of that is be present.
That brings it down a little bit.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, maybe.
We laugh more though. No, that's a nice phrase. Had a lot of really solid energy flow to it, at least from my point of view.
Absolutely.
Very present. Perfect.
I'm distracted now because I thought it was a caller or a person watching the stream, but it was Ryan asking HHH questions. So if anybody's friends with Ryan, message him and say it's CWG. He should be like participating and not asking questions about other stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Come
Ryan.
On, Ryan.
Okay. Any questions, comments, any place you want to go with what we've talked about so far, or someone could give us another page number and we can jump somewhere else in the book.
Yeah.
Whatever feels lightest.
And if you catch something later, or you're joining us after on the replay, if something comes up, pop it in the chat or in the video comments, and we'll see it. We'll say cool, or we'll probably respond to it.
Yeah, and I will get this done this week. One thing I've been meaning to do is go through the YouTube channel and make playlists for all the individual things that we do. I have not done that yet. And so you'll be able to go onto the YouTube channel by the end of the week. And if you want to see all the episodes of CWG that we filmed, you can go there and it will all be ready to play in order.
Yeah.
Same thing with Power Possibility.
Are they all going to be on one new YouTube channel, or where will they be?
They'll be on the HHH YouTube channel, but as a playlist.
And is HHH in as HHH, or is it Holistic?
Holistic Health and Healing. But if you search for Holistic Health and Healing, it does not show up for some reason. I don't know why.
And I think that's Holistic Health & Healing.
I don't think so.
No, it's not.
I think it's just spelled out.
just
let
being
me.
silly
I will
now.
get the. I'll get the link for the YouTube channel real quick and post it. A lot of the people are already watching on YouTube, but not everyone. So
YouTube.
switch account.
You know, it's not. You know, they never called it. They didn't call it MeTube or YouTube. It's just you. Could have been so many other second. What do they call those second pronouns? Second degree pronouns.
I've never been good with grammar stuff or
Like
spelling.
He, they, she. Or no, some of those are third.
Now, if you're watching in the Facebook group or my personal profile, this comment is not going to go. So you won't see it. I apologize. But everybody else will get the comment. And that's just a weird Facebook privacy thing. I'm not sure why it won't let me post comments to profiles or groups, but that is the way it works. But I'll put it in a little banner here real quick. So if you are watching and you absolutely had to, that is the long thing you would type in to go to the YouTube channel. So, cool.
Bookmark it
Bookmark it.
and click the bell.
And since you can, make sure you turn on notifications. No, well, I used to not be an advocate of that as much, like just because I was lazy in telling people about it. But then this morning, I accidentally scheduled my morning stream. It said it was going to be at like 7 o'clock at night, and then or 9 o'clock at night instead of 9 a.m. And so if people didn't have notifications turned on, they would have missed it. So, yeah, notifications are important. So, any questions? I don't think we're getting one, or no page numbers. It's a quiet group tonight, which is fine. Last time we had a very animated.
That's right. You're all just in the energy, I'm sure.
Yeah, everybody's just like, I just
We're
want to
just like,
feel
oh,
the
this is
energy.
just so good. I have nothing to say. I'm just gonna receive it all.
Good.
Yeah.
So pick a number, Sean.
Me again?
Okay. Well, last time I picked, I was like out of the book.
Yeah, you did. You did jump into book 4. So, yeah, I can pick a page here.
You picked a really good one last time.
Well, I feel like we've done that one. Probably.
Today?
So, all right, let's just pick a number. Let's just do this again. We're just gonna energetically clear everything here and just kind of go.
All right.
400.
So that's a good number. Is that a book 3 number? No, it's a book. Looks like it's
close.
book 2.
It looks like it's gonna be a book 2.
All right.
Oh, it's a back and forth dialogue.
All right. Give me a first sentence.
I'd always thought it was
I'd?
what we call I apostrophe
Yep.
D. Always thought it was what we call apostrophe or heaven. Quote.
I'd always
I'd always
thought
thought it was. But maybe just always thought it was for it. And call heaven.
we call.
Yeah.
Call heaven?
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Oh, that's good.
All right.
Oh, so it actually starts on the page before, 399. It starts with there are people, holy beings.
Okay, and is that good? Yep, got it.
Yeah. So this is book 2, chapter 20. So I think it's towards the end of the book.
Yeah.
Although,
We will give page numbers, but unless you got the trilogy book, they won't
Yeah.
match up to the smaller
so
books.
it's chapter 20 of book 2, which is the last chapter of book 2. So we're kind of like in a mid conversation, and Neil asked the question: there are people, holy beings like this, right now on our planet. Is that not right? Not just in the past, but right now.
Yes, always there have been, always there will be. I will not leave you without teachers. I will not abandon the flock, but always send after it my shepherds. And there are many on your planet right now, and in other parts of the universe as well. And in some parts of the universe, these beings live together in constant communion and in constant expression of the highest truth. These are the enlightened societies of which I have spoken. They exist, they are real, and they have sent you their emissaries.
You mean the Buddha, Krishna, Jesus were spacemen?
You said that, I didn't.
Is it true?
Is this the first time you've ever heard that thought?
No, but is it true?
Do you believe these masters existed somewhere before they came to Earth and returned to that place after their so-called death?
Yes, I do.
And where do you suppose that place is?
I'd always thought it was what we call heaven. I thought they came from heaven.
And where do you suppose this heaven is?
I don't know. In another realm, I guess.
Another world?
Yes. Oh, I see. But I would have called it the spirit world, not another world as we know it, not another planet.
It is the spirit world. Yet what makes you think those spirits, those holy spirits, cannot or would not choose to live elsewhere in the universe just as they did when they came to your world?
I just suppose I never thought of it that way. It has not been part of my ideas about all this.
There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt of in your philosophy. Your wonderful metaphysician William Shakespeare wrote that.
Then Jesus was a spaceman.
I didn't say that.
Well, was he or wasn't he?
Patience, my child. You jump ahead too much. There is more, so much more. We will have a whole book to we have a whole book to write. Another whole book to write.
You mean I have to wait for book 3?
I told you, I promised you from the beginning, there would be 3 books. I said the first would deal with individual life truths and challenges. The second would discuss truths of life as a family on this planet. And the third, I said, would cover the largest truths having to do with the eternal questions. And this will be revealed the secrets of the universe. Unless they're not.
Oh man, I don't know how much more of this I can take. I mean, I'm really tired of living in the contradiction, as you always put it. I want what's so to be so.
Then so shall it be.
Unless it's not.
Oh, that was your unless it's not?
Yeah.
That's it. You've got it. Now you understand the divine dichotomy. Now you see the whole picture. Now you comprehend the plan. Everything that ever was, is now, and ever will be, exists right now. And so all that is. Yet all that is constantly changing, for life is an ongoing process of creation. Therefore, in a very real sense, that which is not. The isness is never the same, which means that the isness is not.
Well, excuse me, Charlie Brown, but good grief. How can anything then mean anything?
It doesn't, but you are jumping ahead again. All of this in good time, my son. All of this in good time. These and other larger mysteries will all be understood after reading book 3. Unless, altogether now,
Unless they are not.
Precisely.
Okay, fair enough. But between now and then, or for that matter, for the people who may never get to read these books, what avenues can be used right here, right now, to get back to wisdom, to get back to clarity, to get back to God? Do we need to return to religion? Is that the missing link?
Return to spirituality. Forget about religion.
That statement is going to make a lot of people angry.
People will
going to anger a lot of people.
People will react to this entire book with anger, unless they don't.
Why do you say forget religion?
Because it is not good for you. Understand that in order for organized religion to succeed, it has to make people believe that they need it. In order for people to put faith in something else, they must first lose faith in themselves. So the first task of organized religion is to make you lose faith in yourself. The second task is to make you see that if it has the answers you do not. Wait, did I say that right? The second task is to make you see that it has the answers that you don't have. And the third and most important task is to make you accept its answers without question. If you question, you start to think. If you think, you start to go back to that source within. Religion can't have you do that because you're liable to come up with an answer different from what it has contrived. So religion must make you doubt yourself. must make you doubt your own ability to think straight. The problem for religion is that it is very often, the problem for religion is that very often this backfires. For if you cannot accept without doubt your own thoughts, how can you not doubt the new ideas about God which religion has given you? Pretty soon, even doubt you'll even doubt my existence, which, ironically, you never doubted before. When you were living by your intuitive knowing, you may not have had me all figured out, but you definitely knew I was there. It is religion which has created agnostics. Any clear thinker who looks at what religion has done must assume religion has no God, for it is religion which has filled the hearts of men with fear of God, where once man loved, and is all it, that which is all. I can't read that today. That which is in all its splendor. It is religion which has ordered men to bow down before God, where once man rose up in joyful outreach. It is religion which has burdened man with worries about God's wrath, where once man sought to lighten his burden. It is religion which has told man to be ashamed of his body and its most natural functions, where once man celebrated those functions as the greatest gift of life. It is religion which taught you that you must have an intermediary in order to reach God, where once you thought of yourself to be reaching God by simply living of your life in goodness and in truth. And it is religion which has commanded humans to adore God, where once humans adored God because it was impossible not to. Everywhere religion has gone, it has created disunity, which is the opposite of God. Religion has separated man from God, man from man from woman, some religions actually telling man that he is above woman, even as it claims God is above man, thus setting the stage for the greatest travesties ever foisted upon half the human race. I tell you this, God is not above man, and man is not above woman. That is not the natural order of things, but it is the way everyone who had power, namely men, wished it was, and they formed their male worship religions, systematically editing out half the material from the final version of the Holy Scriptures and twisting the rest to fit the mold of their male model of the world. It is religion that insists that this very day that women are somehow less, somehow second-class spiritual citizens, somehow not suited to teach the Word of God, preach the Word of God, or minister to the people. Like children, you are still arguing over which gender is ordained by me to be my priests. I tell you this, you are all priests, every single one of you. There is no one person or class of people more suited to do my work than any other. But so many of your men are just like your nations, power hungry. They do not like to share power, merely exercise it. And they have constructed the same kind of God, a power hungry God, a God who does not like to share power but merely exercises it. Yes, yet I tell you this, God's greatest gift is the sharing of God's power. I would have you be like me.
But we cannot be like you. That would be blasphemy.
The blasphemy is that you have been taught such things. I tell you this, you have been made in the image and likeness of God. It is that destiny you came to fulfill. You did not come here to strive and to struggle and to never get there, nor did I send you on a mission of impossible to complete. Believe in the goodness of God and believe in the goodness of God's creation, namely your holy selves.
You said something earlier in the book, in this book, which intrigued me. I'd like to go back as we come to the end of this volume. You said absolute power demands absolutely nothing. Is this the nature of God?
You have now understood. I have said, God is everything, and God becomes everything. There is nothing which God is not, and all that God is experiencing itself. God is experiencing in, as through you. In my purest form, I am the absolute. I am absolutely everything, and therefore I need, want, and demand absolutely nothing. From this absolutely pure form, I am as you make me. It is as if you were finally to see God and say, well, what did you make of that? Yet no matter what you make of me, I cannot forget, and we always return to my purest form. All the rest is a fiction. It is something you are making up. There are those of you who would make me a jealous God, but who could be jealous when one has, but I can't say it again. Let me try that again here. There are those who would make me a jealous God, but who could be jealous when one has and is everything? There are those who would make me a wrathful God, but what could cause me to be angry when I cannot be hurt or damaged in any way? There are those who would make me a vengeful God, but on whom would I take vengeance since all that exists is me? And why would I punish myself for simply creating? Or if you think of us as separate, why would I create you, give you this power to create, give you the freedom of choice to create what you wish to experience, then punish you forever for making the wrong choice? Wrong in quotes. I tell you this, I would not do such a thing, and in that truth lies your freedom from the tyranny of God. In truth, there is no tyranny except in your imagination. You may come home whenever you wish. We can be together again whenever you want. The ecstasy of your union with me is yours to know again at the drop of a hat, at the feel of the wind on your face, at the sound of a cricket under a diamond sky on a summer night, at the first sight of a rainbow, on the first cry of a newborn baby, at the last ray of a spectacular sunset, and the last breath in a spectacular life. I am with you always, even unto the end of time. Your union with me is complete. It always was, always is, and always will be. You and I are one, both now and forevermore. Go now and make your life a statement of this truth. Cause your days and nights to be reflections of the highest ideal within you. Allow your moments of now to be filled with the spectacular ecstasy of God made manifest through you. Do it through the expression of your love, external and unconditional, for all those whose lives you touch. Be a light unto the darkness and curse it not. Be a bringer of the light. You are that, so be it.
And that is the end of book 2.
The end of book 2. Michelle says, thank you for sharing. And Mike says, I
You're
like
welcome.
that one. You're welcome. Cool. And we will give an opportunity if there's any questions or comments to speak to that before we end, because I don't think we should read something else after that, or what do you think? We still got some time, but it's hard to, it felt like a good spot.
That was pretty good. I mean, it was the end of a volume.
Yes.
Seems like an appropriate place to end.
What's your schedule looking like during the days nowadays? You're working from home?
Well, during the days, yeah. I mean, I work, so.
Because I'm wondering if we did do more of a structured book club with a group, if there would be a desire for that, and that could be something separate. But
Yeah, we could do something fun with that. Could see what flexibility I could create or have with my work.
and when I guess it could be in the evenings too. I know my wife would probably prefer that I not kill another evening. But hey,
Well,
it's in the name of
that's fine.
consciousness, right? But any questions, comments, anything at all that's on your mind, we're happy to speak to that.
Yeah, if it's related to the verse we just went over, the section we went over, that'd be great. We'll also take other questions too. That'll be cool. I just gotta put it. It will be what it is. That it is not. So it is.
Right.
I mean, isn't that kind of what we just come through?
In the absence of that which you are, not that which you are, isn't it?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
That which is not is, and that
Right.
which is not.
And everything will happen unless it doesn't.
That was
And
backwards.
nothing bad will happen unless it does, and nothing good will happen unless it doesn't. No, but basically, it comes down to the greatest truths or paradoxes. The universe is always in flux, so of course it's that way unless it's not. So they always add that little
And
caveat.
it always can be or could be.
Yeah, absolutely. And at the end of the day, you create the reality. So really, the only limitation in anything that comes into or out of your experience is right here.
It's a choice.
And remember, actions speak louder than words. It's not just a choice that you're thinking about. I see examples of that. Hey, I want to lose weight, as someone pulls into McDonald's, right? So like your action is opposite of what your intention is, and what you say you would like to choose. So being congruent, body, being, and beyond, the thought, word, and deed all goes into choosing. Be very consistent with it.
It's your energy that goes into it. Whether you do what you say or not, the energy that you be is what bees. So if you're being change and being present and being dynamic and creative, that's what shows up. If you're being, destructive or unkind or stagnant, that's what shows up. So a lot of it is being present with you and choosing and doing things and being more that you are.
Mm-hmm. Very
so
cool.
that you can be. I sound dumb when I talk. You just sit
Interesting
there,
point of view.
You just sit there and be.
Yeah.
That's my advice.
Well, and one of the principles in the first book of Conversations with God, which we didn't cover tonight, but is really relevant to that, is that beingness precedes doingness. If you're trying to do something in order to be something, you're never going to get there because you're trying to rely on something external to you in order to create it. If you do create it, it's short-lived. The true happiness, joy, peace, and calm, it's an inner state. And so you become that beingness first, and then the universe brings you opportunities to express that being through doing. So the doing is the expression of the being, but not the other way around. So we get it backwards sometimes. I need to have the thing they call money in order to buy the thing they call a house in order to be the thing they call secure. But in reality, that house could be gone tomorrow, and that security.
Yes, the do have be reality, right? I have to
Right.
do the thing called work to have the thing called money,
there we go.
so I can be the thing they call
So
successful.
I'm glad he's here. He corrected me there. But the being comes first.
Whereas instead of the do have be, it's be do have. So if you start by being successful, can you ever end up not being successful?
Yeah. and I see a comment from someone saying they wish they had been presented with these concepts 50 years ago. Well, it really is, it's only the ever-present moment of now, regardless of if you start kind of stepping into this when you're 60 or 18. No, I first read these things back in 1997 when
you were like a wee little.
I was a wee laddie, yeah. And at the time, a lot of it was just conceptual. I read this stuff, but I wasn't really living it. And but it planted the seeds when I was going through my addiction and was a professional drinker for many years. When I got sober, it was a lot of the stuff that I read from back in '97 that really carried me and gave me the tools that I really put to use to overcome that addiction and to start really getting in touch with my inner self. So my inner self, my higher self, all those types of things. But you're never too old. You can teach an old dog new tricks. And
it's impossible to be too old because time's not real.
Yeah, time's not real. You're an infinite being. Yep.
It's in the book.
Yep. So that's really what it comes down to, being present in the moment. What could I be in this moment to create the greatest possibilities for myself in this moment? And you follow that. What would create the most change for you in the world around you?
Yeah. I just did a fun 30-day of energy pulse series called Getting Out of Time. So God talks about how time is not real. It's all happening at once. The only moment ever existing is now.
Yeah.
So it was very fun 30 days to play with what if you were really in this space of time not being real or existing. It's a very different way to create from. And it's a place we limit ourselves in many ways as time.
Yes.
So
time is more of a measurement of distance traveled, and I think of it like the Matrix movie. It's one of those rules that can be bent and broken. You can slow it down, speed it up, step outside. Anyway, that could be a whole another thing. So cool. But thank you all for joining us. This was a ton of fun. And hopefully for those of you local, join us here at the center in person. We'll still be streaming it, so you can participate live or in person. And we got hand mics that we're going to have like on little stands and things. So if you do have a question when you're in person, we won't ask you to get on camera, but we will ask you to speak into a microphone. And that way people that are watching online can still hear and participate. And then we also have a television that we don't have in the screen now since it's just me and Sean here. But if you're participating online, we didn't mention it this time, but we can even bring you on screen and you can actually participate with us live, even if you're virtual.
If you're virtual.
And for that, we would put you up on the TV so everybody in the room could see you. And we really come up with a great way to make this hybrid discussion group accessible, whether you're in person or virtual.
Mm-hmm.
And now that it's online, it is in the archives of time. You can watch it over and over again if you'd like. How does it get better than that? It's in the archives. Yep. Yeah. And very soon, I think we'll put on podcast too, so you can download it on iTunes. Cool. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. I think I shall get my little outro video going.
And wave goodbye.
Yeah, we'll wave goodbye, and we will also ask, join us next Tuesday for Power of Possibilities.
Next Tuesday.
Yeah, so it's going to be great. See you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.